Hello, you beautiful nerds. Welcome to the Drunk Banthas podcast, where we talk about sci-fi, fantasy, horror, and all the popular art that we love. Also, we do it drunk. I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, Brother Bill. How you doing?
I'm doing good, because we're joined by good friends, and I just got to give a big roll tide, and I go Blazers, and
roll tide,
all that
go
shit.
Blazers.
All that beautiful
Go
shit.
Steel Dogs, and
Steel
go
Dogs.
Birmingham Bulls.
There you go,
Goddamn it.
Birmingham Bulls. There it
All
is.
that.
Birmingham Bulls, baby. What y'all know
man.
about the Birmingham
I went
Bulls?
to a Bulls game. Yeah. Oh man. All that beautiful Birmingham bullshit. We have a very special show for you guys today. Not just because we're talking about the last
Roll
two
that beautiful
episodes.
bull footage.
Not just because we're talking about the last two episodes of the HBO Max hit series, The Last of Us, but also because we have two special guests in alphabetical order. Just to be fair, he was the head of video at The Wrap, and he is currently a content creator at. You can find him on social media at Chuckie_Fuoco. He's a director, writer, producer, Mr. Chuckie Fuoco. Welcome to the show.
What's up? What's up? Thank you for having me. Appreciate you.
Of course, man.
It's hot in here. It's fuego. It's fuego. It's hot in here. It's hot in here.
We have another special guest, comedian, writer, actor. You guys can find him at IntoNever on social media. If you can't understand anything I'm saying, you guys can find it in the description down in the YouTube descriptions.
I don't know.
He was the PetSmart guy. You remember those commercials? They were cute and
yeah.
hilarious, and he is cute and hilarious too.
Oh, thank you.
It is Noah Lance. Welcome to the show, Noah.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here. Very excited.
I'm pretty sure I might have seen him in a Sprint commercial, too.
You know which one?
A Sprint commercial? Did you do a Sprint commercial?
I don't think I did a Sprint one. I did the other one. I did was Ring. It was a big Ring one. I was like
Ring
a
commercial.
slimy
That's-
sleazeball who like goes door to door and put gum on the underside of
Yeah,
someone's
there you
mailbox. It's my favorite part. It was awesome. Favorite part of that shoot. It was great.
That's dope.
Soon to be featured in your favorite commercial soon.
Hope so, man. I hope so. I need to book something, baby.
But yeah, guys, we're talking about The Last of Us. Just before we dive into these last two episodes, what are you guys' initial thoughts of this season so far? Because it's my first time having you guys on talking about the show. What are your initial thoughts of the episode and the season?
Take it away, Chuckie.
Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, when the season started, I felt like it was heavier in the first part of the season, meaning that the two episodes that we're going to talk about right now, I feel like didn't hit me as hard as the first couple did. And I don't know what episode it kind of calmed down, but I don't know. I just feel like the stakes have been high in other ways, but not as high as I felt them when it first started. I don't know if that makes any sense, though.
No, it definitely makes sense. Because I've heard some common criticisms online about how the tone of the show is different from the beginning, or the quality of the show is varied from the beginning to middle and the end.
Quality?
I don't know about that.
I mean, that's what I'm just talking about. What the criticisms I've
quality.
heard.
I would
I'm just
say
talking about
that-
criticisms.
I'm gonna
What
shoot
I
the
would
messenger.
say is-
I'm gonna shoot the messenger.
No,
No, I'll let Noah give his.
Then Bill, I'll let you.
Before I take a big shit all over everything you just
Oh
said.
man, if that's okay. Well, oh man, I think the season's been great. Honestly, for me,
Okay.
it feels like the vibe of the game, and there's so many subtle callbacks to the game that feel really nice, and some of the scenes are shot for shot the game, which they are beautiful. The script's the same, so they did a lot of stuff to humanize characters that you didn't see in the game. You're just oh, these are bandits. You know what I mean? Just kill the bandits.
Right.
Yeah.
But then this show did things where they're oh, well, those aren't just bandits. Those were people. You know what I mean? And that hits so hard in a way that I didn't know. There's definitely a lot less action, but me personally, I feel like the show it's not about zombies. It's not why are there zombies? How do we get rid of them? It's more about there's this problem. This is just how we have to live with now. We just have to live with that. And how are we going to live with that? And so it's all about the characters and the people and stuff. And I think they've really nailed it. It's been an emotional roller coaster, honestly, the whole thing, man. It's been hard. It's been really hard. And Chuckie, I feel like this last episode hit me really hard, but in a very different way. All the other ones hit like emotionally, like I'm crying at the end, like, why is life like this? Just bawling. But this one hit me like in a moral place that felt really interesting and doesn't feel good. Like, without trying to necessarily spoil the episode at the end, just seeing the face.
No, we're spoiling
his
everything.
face on the end of the episode. Well, I don't know if we want to get to it. I don't know if we want to get to it.
Yeah.
But
pull your whole cock out right now.
I don't know. Just seeing his face, seeing Joel's face at the end about like when they're in the elevator. And he's got her in his arms, and he's just like, "Did I make the right choice?" That feels like that hit so weird
there we go.
And uncomfortable, and like morally, all of a sudden you kind of lose respect for Joel. I don't know. It's just like so much.
No, but before we get like too far into it,
there we go.
Yeah, like for sure.
Thank you. I'm sorry.
No.
Passionate.
Put your cock back.
Just because I don't want to get too.
Put your cock back in your pants.
Just because I don't want to get too deep. Bill, what were your initial thoughts? Yeah, there's a lot of.
Deep.
This is a very horny episode already.
I'm sorry, I just left a dog party where all the dogs were humping.
Yeah, you just had
each
to
other. So I was all up
party's
thinking about it.
very
It's just humping, and it's just humping in my mind. It's okay. I left a dog party, and I was the second horniest person there, so it's just okay. But as far as what Noah was saying, like, I completely agree. Like,
oh man,
this show was not. I mean, this show could not be the same as the game. Even though basically the dialogue and the shots and the frames of the way they framed up every shot was basically exactly like the game.
That's pretty cool.
They even went as far as putting the subtitles the same as the game subtitles, the same font. And they placated a lot towards the fan base. But what they didn't do is make a game television show.
Yeah.
Like, what they didn't do is do what all of the video game movies do, is just try to, like, placate for 2.5 hours towards the video game audience, towards one audience that has every bit of the idea of what's going to go on. And, you got to make a show for people who don't watch or play the game or don't know anything about the game.
As me.
So I thought they did a very good job as far as like exactly as you. Exactly.
I mean, I know about the game. So, I just have yet to play.
And I feel like your complaints, Chuck, are perfect for a person who hasn't played the game. For someone who is coming at it from a point of view, you know what I'm saying? I don't know what I'm supposed to expect.
Yeah.
Because we still haven't, even though this is the end of this season, we still haven't gotten to the end of this series or this story. So we still have a lot more to go through. But I do agree with Noah about, like, this was a morality episode.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And just like in the game, when you get to this point, it's a situation in which you're literally sitting there going, did I do the right thing?
Yeah.
Like, is this like what we're supposed to do? Like, is there another version of the ending of this game?
Was there a different ending?
Exactly.
That's what I thought. For a long time, I thought, oh man, I chose one ending, but there had to be a different ending to this where I didn't do anything. But I think I was wrong, actually. It ends up that way no matter what. But
it does.
But because I felt so morally wrong in the situation, I was just like, this can't be the correct ending, right? Like, there's no way. So, oh man.
And I think it's a beauty in it because it's supposed to give you that juxtaposition. I feel like this show, I've said this a few times during the coverage of this show, I feel like this show is totally just like Game of Thrones. If Game of Thrones had been a video game instead of a book before it was a movie, before it was a TV show, it's just, there's nothing, anytime you think something good is happening.
Yeah. No.
Something really bad is going to happen.
That's again.
Like, this is not
you can't,
that kind of story. This is not an uplifting tale.
Right.
Yes,
well, but the whole time you're not like, oh, the main character's going to live, for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny because, like, it just to compare, like, Pedro Pascal TV shows, like, with The Mandalorian, it's been criticized for having a very video gamey like narrative, whereas this show,
That's me mostly.
Well, yeah, you and like I've heard like there's a very famous video on YouTube where it's just like like it just plays very much like a video game.
That's all I'm saying.
Fine.
That's all I'm saying. I mean, I did, but it's okay.
But it's just weird how this show is played based on a video game, but it just feels so different. Like I can't even imagine playing this. Like some of these scenes, it's like, well, do you just sit there and sob? Just like press left if you want to cry.
You do, actually. That's a big part of the game. Huge mechanic.
This is for people.
Once your cry meter goes up so high, you get like a bonus cry where it feels really good emotionally, cathartically.
It's like in real life.
Yeah, just like in real life. You just break down.
Like, you break down. This is a video game. About your father.
This
I was like, oh god.
This is just a video game for people who have too much good going on in their life, and they have to play this game to feel the sorrow.
Knock them down a few pegs.
But we're talking about episodes 8 and 9. Episode 8, When We Are in Need. This is like, this picks up where episode 7 left off, where Joel is stabbed by the random bandit. Ellie leaves Joel, who is still recovering, to hunt for food. And after shooting a deer, she tracks down a wounded animal and encounters a preacher named David. Ooh. And his fellow hunter James, who is played
a pedophilic, crazy ass cannibal preacher.
Crazy pedophile. Oh yeah,
it's
crazy.
It's fairly accurate.
Yeah, all those adjectives are apt.
Yeah.
And
I probably just got us demonetized just saying all of those words right there.
Cut that part. Just cut that part.
And his homeboy James, who is like his
Jimmy
or Jimmy.
No, it's James. I call him Jimmy.
Oh,
I'm friends. I was friends with him before the pandemic. I was friends with him.
He's not who he used to be. But yeah, he's actually. I think he's the voice actor of Joel in the video game. Is he not?
I mean, that's what I was thinking too.
Yeah,
I was going to say that, but I didn't want to be wrong.
No,
you're
right.
He absolutely is. You're absolutely right.
This is really cool.
Absolutely right.
I don't know if you know about all of them, but they did a really great job of being respectful to the original actors, so they like recast them in pretty major roles. So Joel, I think, is that guy, the guard. Unfortunately, the girl who played Tess passed away, so they I don't know if that was right before or after. This is really cool. Marlene is the voice actor. They cast her.
Oh, really?
And double check this for me.
Marlene is actually that
double check this
actress?
for me. I'm like 90% positive.
No, I'm not double checking shit.
I just want to.
We don't do that.
But
you're right.
That's what my understanding is.
Absolutely
right.
right.
We do not drunk check live.
Yeah.
No. You're absolutely right, and we believe you because guess what? I literally follow all of the YouTubers who cover this shit.
Yeah.
Nobody has said that. I've heard no one say that she is the voice actress.
You heard it here, folks.
And that's why. That's how I know we live in a male-dominated world of internet and video games because no one has brought that up.
I think that's society. Man, think about that as a voice actor. If you're like you book a game, the game blows up, then they make a TV show and they're like, let's cast you as the person you were playing. It would just be like. Mind blowing.
Boom, boom, boom. Yeah.
Oh, it has to be.
It's huge.
It has to be because you have to be thinking, well, I heard they were getting ready to make this TV show about the game that I did a few years ago. No way I'm getting a call back for that. Like, no way I'm gonna have anything to do with that. I wish I could be a part of that.
Yeah.
And then you get to be a part of that?
Yeah. And the voice actor for Ellie plays Ellie's mother in the final episode.
Yeah, Ashley Johnson. Yeah, she's the
That's
other person.
And she kind of looked like Ellie to me.
Did.
I don't know.
She did look like her. 100%.
Yeah, it was excellent casting.
Yeah.
Excellent casting.
Really good casting. So they nailed it.
Because not only is Ashley Johnson just like a really good voice actress and screen actress, but yeah, like you said, she actually looks like she could be her mom. She looks kind of like her. Her voice is very similar.
Yeah.
And they're both child actors. Actually, I mean, I know that doesn't mean anything but show narratively. But that was a really good casting.
So awesome.
But in episode 8, we do get like the encounter with James and David with Ellie. Ellie decides she's going to trade the deer for the penicillin, so she can
ends up saving his life.
Joel, what did you guys
think? His life.
Yeah. What did you guys think of?
No, I want to know what Chuckie thought first because he never played the game. He doesn't know. He didn't. He was all surprised.
Like what I thought about that whole episode, or what happened in particular. Like what I thought about that episode.
Everything leading up till before Ellie gets kidnapped, essentially.
I mean, stakes were good in that one. I mean, it was definitely, I think it was the first time that, we're following her rather than, both
She's
of
on her
them
own.
or just Joel.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
He's pretty much out of it.
And it was very cool to kind of see like how she holds herself because, from that moment, I don't think it's been dropped like that she was born into this quite yet, like in the show. Like it just shows that she got bit on her arm at one point but survived.
Right.
So it was kind of cool to kind of see her hold herself, hold her own, get the medicine in Joel and then hightail it out. I mean, of course, the first thing I said when she was on the horse and she started shooting at them was just like, probably not the best idea to shoot at them, and then boom, she gets taken down.
In the open too, and just like flailing, shooting.
Yes.
Yeah.
But she is 14,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I mean,
so she's bound to make
vibes are already bad with
man.
with the preacher, because I think the scene where he slaps that girl who's mourning over her dead father. That was like right before this happens, correct? Like we see that.
Yeah, I
Right?
believe so.
Yeah. Because
it was. Yeah,
we get a little taste of like how crazy. Because I
a
think
little
that
taste.
I think
I'm sorry, that was
taste.
because he smacked the taste out that bitch's mouth, and you said we get a little taste. So I don't know if you meant to do that, but congratulations,
And-
sir. That was amazing.
We're all in agreement that her father was hanging up in that barn, right?
Yeah, well, no,
Oh,
actually,
probably.
what I thought was really interesting, because we do, because I watched this episode twice, or like episode 8, where like we get the reveal that like at the beginning of the episode that's just like, oh, we're not going to be able to bury your
Yes.
dad
The ground
because
is-
the
the ground is
ground's
too-
too thick.
Yeah.
And I was like,
and
kind of feels
the ground ain't that
I was
hard,
like,
man.
kind of feels
Fuck
like
that,
you came up with
man.
that lie on the spot, but okay. And then later we see the mom. They present her with a bunch of meat, and she's like, "What's this?" And he's like, and you see the
Venison.
dude pause. He's like,
Yeah, he's like,
venison.
Just
I was
believe
like,
me,
oh shit!
venison.
I was like, is
Yeah.
that your husband that you have to eat right now? And it's like you have to just like, and you subconsciously kind of know, but it's like, all right, I'm just gonna push that
It
deep
ain't no
down.
subconscious though,
Because
it
she's
ain't
not
no subconscious.
she's not supposed to be
no,
in
listen,
on all
listen,
that, right?
listen. 5 minutes before that, we hear the dude say they ain't got no meat, and the dude said, "I saw a deer." Or we heard word of a deer somewhere close by. And then you see food given out and it's venison. Like about 5 minutes later. Nah, bruh. We know for a fact that she knows
that's not that
ain't
deer.
nobody killed no deer. they know that a
Right.
dude.
Yeah,
they
there's
know
like
that
2
a
or 3
dude
people
and
that
a little
know.
girl killed her husband. How do they even know that? The scuttlebutt travels fast in this neighborhood, obviously,
Right.
and like
Common
they
phrase.
just eating people.
I'm just saying
'Cause
it's proven like you should not eat people, right? Like it's proven
Like
that is
morally, or
no. I mean,
only
like
if you're gonna eat the cheeks.
like
True.
'cause-
Only if you eat the cheeks.
I tried it a few weeks ago. I do not approve.
Yeah,
No,
I don't.
I'm just
I've
saying,
had,
like,
and I'm not talking about
2
booty
stars
cheeks.
on Yelp.
I'm talking about the cheeks on your face. If you eat booty cheeks, plenty of people eat booty cheeks right now. That's happening right
Wouldn't
this
that be
second.
where you want to go? Like that's where all the meat is. Honestly.
but no, like
That's where all the meat is.
I know
It's
that
tough
people-
because
I know
people
that-
sit on their booty cheeks all the time.
I know
So
that
when you
people-
sit on them all the time, it's not tender.
Go for it. Chuck.
I know that people have survived like eating like frozen people like,
Yeah.
on airplane crashes and stuff like that.
Yeah, Donner Party.
But for a
peace.
long amount of time, isn't it? It's like not good to eat human meat, right?
I think
It's not. It create. There's iron deficiency levels that happen when you eat human beings. You don't get.
Not to say
the
I'm thinking
nutrients
about
that
it.
you're
I
supposed-
just
yeah.
no.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm just giving you. This
Right?
is look. This
I
is
mean,
my
it
job
tastes
on
bad,
this show.
right?
well, I'm just
This
saying
is
if
my
I,
job
was,
on
if I
this
was
show.
in this camp and some dude was just like, hey, we can't find any meat, and then some meat showed up, I'd be like, I'm not eating this shit. Like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly, dog.
Right. I have some
Especially
questions.
if
But they
Todd
wouldn't, though.
just
They'd
fucking
say,
died.
yeah, we got a deer.
If Todd just
you know what?
died
It's-
and
yeah.
then meat shows up and we didn't have meat, but then we have meat, I'm not eating that because I know that's Todd.
But
That's
Todd
Todd.
is dead.
But we're talking about one of the things I loved about this episode is we do get the comparison of, like, we see the thriving secluded town with Tommy's town, how it's thriving. They figured out a way to make it work. And it's still wintertime, but they're talking about still having Christmas
power.
trees and pigs.
They've got
and
bacon.
Bacon, yeah.
That's right.
Watching
they
movies.
one step away from cable.
They're also not backslapping females to the ground.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Like in
And
this
that-
other
children,
that
female
might, and
children.
that might have something to do with it.
That
He
is not
said
a good
maybe.
thing.
He said they everywhere they set up, raiders would show, and it kept pushing them further and further out.
Right.
That's what his
Lies. Sounds like lies to me.
Yeah, I
know
guess
what
you
kept
can't
pushing
trust
them out.
You can't trust that guy at all.
I'm gonna tell you what kept pushing them out. Religion. That's what kept pushing them out.
Well, yeah. Well, and it's
That's
funny.
what
And I thought it was an interesting reveal.
No, seriously,
that,
hold on.
Sorry,
hold
go ahead.
on, because I know what I'm saying. When I said religion, I meant I was setting up something because that was to me the biggest difference, and I think they've tried to point it out in the show. What's her name? Mary, Tommy's wife.
Yeah, Maria. I think what's her name? Yeah,
Maria. What's her name? Tessa from
yeah, from True Blood.
from
True Blood.
Yeah. So she mentioned that they were in a commune. Like Joel was like, this is some kind of communist. And she was like, yeah, we are a commune.
Literally
Yeah,
communist.
he's
Yeah,
like,
so
yeah,
we're
living in a
communists.
communist. And he's like, huh.
And then Tommy was like, what? Like, a country boy like me is a communist? What? But then you look at the next town that we see, and those motherfuckers are like savages, living in a religious commune, living in a religious dominated society.
Yeah, well.
And they haven't even been able to fucking turn the lights on. Like, they still living on candlelight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I think it was literally their way of like trying to juxtapose.
Maybe. I don't know if that was intentional from the writers. I don't think it read that way.
I mean, they didn't have to write the communist line in there, and then the
For sure.
family we see is like.
I don't
the
think
next
this was
town we see.
I don't think this was like, see, Christians eat each other. Like, I don't think that was.
No, not Christians eat each other, but I'm talking about how they like. What it is a one individual can create
For sure.
a
It's a power
power-like
dynamic. Yeah,
structure.
the power.
That's
power
what I'm saying.
dynamic.
Like a power like structure
Yeah.
that
I did
that
like-
then creates an insulation that doesn't allow other people to come in
That
and
is
be
true.
able to provide
Yeah.
and thrive.
sure.
Because they've isolated themselves
Right.
so that they can dominate the power, even though their power is like minuscule and stupid in the construct of the
Well,
like the
it's-
overall
Yeah, I did-
Well, it's
the overall construct.
Yeah, I did like how
People are starving, but he's got all the power, and he had all the good meat on his shit. He looked like he had Olive Garden plate when he ate. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody else
yeah,
had
it
a
was-
little soup bowl, but he had a big plate with some like lasagna and shit.
It was
Like, yeah, I'm
interesting.
just saying.
It was interesting how they showed, like they did make a point to show in the previous episode that Maria said. When they asked her who was in charge, she was like, "Oh, I'm not just one person in charge. Like we have a whole like council and everything. We make decisions based on a group on what's best for everybody. And this one guy who's making every decision based on a religion that he doesn't even believe in, but we'll get into later and all that.
He does go around too, like reinforcing like that people still trust him because like
Right.
he had that scene with his like second in command or however you want to call it, where he's just like, I need to know that you still trust me or something like that. I can't remember what the
Right.
words
Yeah.
he said.
Yeah, that's basically exactly what I think. That's verbatim what he said.
Yeah.
And that's like that's when you get into territory of like this person is just wielding power and
Right.
making sure that every person is in their place kind of thing. Yeah.
And that also
And he sounds
mirrored.
kind of desperate.
Yeah.
I think they were trying to convey that with that scene, like, hey, people are trying to flee my flock
Yeah.
at this moment.
Right, yeah.
I got to bring the sheep back in because
yeah.
the sheep are trying to flee the flock.
Yeah, which makes sense.
I'm gonna take a shot on that. I just said some biblical shit. I'm about to take a shot.
Which makes sense. People are getting hungry. People are getting desperate. And then David reveals that the man who stabbed Joel was a member of his group. And Ellie leaves to treat Joel. The next day, she discovers that David and his men have followed her to seek vengeance on Joel. And
What happened to that dude who he basically accidentally stabbed Joel? Like
he broke his
I'm
neck.
trying
right?
to remember what happened.
Yeah, he died.
Yeah, he broke that nigga's neck, right?
Yeah,
like he
that's the
broke
guy.
his whole
That's the guy
neck
that
up
they're
off his
eating. That's the
head.
guy that they're eating in this episode. That's the guy who turns into meat.
Right.
That's who that was? I thought...
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're...
Because
right.
that's
who he was.
He's the one person who died on that like outing, and then they were like,
They were out hunting people.
Right. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Right.
In the game, it's very different. You're like running from something, and you I think you fall through the floor, and he gets impaled on like an iron pipe. So that's actually
Yeah, iron pipe or
and
like
she
some
takes him off, and then it kind of
barbed
cuts. So
wire or
like I
something,
feel
yeah.
like it's a few weeks later. So he's like, and she's like barely keeping him alive, and she's hunting with a bow and arrow instead of the sniper, the rifle. And yeah,
facts.
Yeah, it seems like I know that the.
See, that's why we got Noah here, man. He over here giving me all this game shit. He over here giving me these deets.
I didn't
these details.
Yeah, because I didn't know what happened. I did read that they changed what happened from the game because it would have been more believable for him to survive what happens in the show than what happened in the game.
Yeah.
I didn't know what happened, but yeah, I could see that. That seems pretty.
I don't know.
That seems pretty.
I don't know.
Because
I
it
mean,
goes, like,
I
through
can
him.
kind of see that.
she's
but
got to get him off of that.
I can kind of see that.
That's crazy.
But
Yeah.
I can kind of see that, but I'm gonna tell you right now, neither one of them are very believable. I mean,
that guy just stabbed him. That's pretty believable. He just that was it. It wasn't.
What I'm saying, what I'm saying is, I'm not talking about more believable than the other. I'm just saying, in the grand scheme of things, he would have been one dead Pedro Pascal.
Yes.
Yeah, if you
You know
fell
what I'm saying?
from the.
I'm just.
Either
No, I'm talking about even getting stabbed with a baseball
with
bat
a broken
that fucking just
baseball
broke.
bat. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
You're
Oh, yeah,
done.
he's
He
been
looked-
super
he
dead
looked
because
way
she
better.
didn't pull out any. She didn't pull out any thorns.
Splinters.
frayed wood pieces. She didn't do any surgery. She didn't close his wound.
literally just stabbed
she
it
did
in
close
there.
the wound.
She
She did
closed
close
it.
the wound.
She sews it up.
She did close the wound.
He looks a lot
But-
better in
but
episode.
You see what I'm saying? Like there was a lot going on that didn't go on.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it still is
And
television.
she
It
injected
still is a
penicillin
video
and
game.
straight into
Like,
the wound. I don't think that's how that works.
Oh man.
I'm absolutely positive that's not how it
mean,
works. You got to go
let's
around
let's
the
all
wound,
agree,
like the
though.
outside of the wound.
Let's all agree though that him coming back and killing like that whole crew was like badass as hell.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, sure.
absolutely.
Absolutely.
Silently,
No doubt.
one by one. Like
Oh,
It was
God.
Yeah.
No spoilers, but I think, Noah will be the only one who'll be able to kind of confirm this. I feel like with that scene and with the scene in the final episode, they were trying to establish something that they really haven't yet, that he has this level of badaddistry to him. And I just made that word up.
we've been hearing about it, right? We've been
Yeah.
hearing about it in every
He's got
episode.
this level of
yeah.
badaddistry to him.
Yeah, well, he's ex
and
military.
then like, yeah, exactly. And it's got to give you this like gravitas to set up what's going to happen in the next season or the, towards the middle of the end of this finale,
man.
this series.
Yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, do you think that that's kind of what they were trying to set up here?
I
like
mean-
him being a badass like that.
I feel like that was pretty established for me. Like at this point, we've seen him kill everybody. Like we've seen him kill
hasn't been
everybody.
like he was like it was like we've seen him shoot a lot.
It was.
We haven't seen him.
He gets more like
ruthlessness
yeah.
is,
He's
I
getting
guess, is
really
what I'm saying.
ruthless. That's for sure.
and
yeah,
he-
I see
we
what you're
did-
saying.
We did see him.
You see what I'm saying? Because I can't say what I'm trying to say because I don't want to spoil anything.
We did see him falter though, like when his daughter gets killed in the very beginning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, and that kind of humanized him in my. Even though, like, yeah, I see this guy. He's a survivor. Like, he's made it. Like, how many years ahead of it did we jump in that first episode from like?
From the apocalypse to the game?
Yeah.
To the show's right. It's like 20
20
years, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah,
20, 25 years?
20 years.
So, like, I know that this dude is a badass because he survived 20 years, like, in all of this chaos. He's, like, being able to go over the wall at night. He's a scavenger. He does jobs for people. Like, 100%. He's like Solo, all right? He's there.
Right.
But in the beginning when he falters, when his daughter dies, it humanized him a whole bunch for myself, at least.
For sure.
To where... it didn't make him just like what he's kind of becoming, which is a little bit of like, you mess with us in any second, I'm not even going to think about it. I'm going to shoot you in the head. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, now it feels
Right.
like borderline mental illness in a way. And what I mean by that is, at first you're like, he's just doing his job. He's a killer. Now he's just like nothing is gonna. I've gone too far. Nothing is gonna stop me. And this kid, this is now my new kid.
Yeah, and
this
it's
is
like,
this is my new daughter. I don't care anymore at all. And now it's almost like a little scary in a way. Like he's getting kind of scary.
Even if it's not to the point where he thinks it's his daughter, he's taken accountability for her in a level.
I mean, listen,
that it completely juxtaposes where he started, where she was just a job.
Yeah.
She was a payday.
Well, I think,
and now
I think
she is like his life. She is like his existence at this point.
And I think that switch
he risked
happened.
everything that he is. I don't want to skip too far. I guess we shouldn't skip too far. We should stick with this episode
Let
right
Alex
now.
get the
Because
next
what we're doing right now is what we're doing. I don't want to go. I was gonna say something. I was gonna keep going, but what we're doing right now is going into details for the next episode. Let's stay with this episode, and I will pass it on to Alex with this segue. Or not a segue. This is a terrible segue. It would be a terrible segue. So I will just pass it on to Alex and say this. We now move on to Ellie is kidnapped. She gets shot off of her horse after trying to distract everyone, because we already mentioned she injected Joel with the antibiotics, and she's trying to distract the cannibals from coming over and finding and getting revenge for Joel killing old Papa Doo, who got ate up like poke bowl on Sunday afternoon.
David's camp, he does reveal that he has been feeding his group human flesh. Meanwhile, Joel awakens and tortures some of David's men into telling him where Ellie is. It's a really interesting scene, like you guys were mentioning. Like, yeah, he gets really vicious. Before, I do agree with you guys. He wasn't like this is like the most vicious he's really gotten, and this was because we mostly hear about how he's losing a step, and this is where it's like, oh, maybe he hasn't lost a step, maybe that's just not where he wanted to go, but now he's just like, well, fuck all that.
Yeah, babe,
I'm just ready.
That old man strength came in, goddamn. You know what I'm saying? That old man strength.
I was gonna agree with Bill, and just from an audience, member that hasn't played the game, I think he made that switch to, like, I guess, adopt her in a sense when she saved his life. Because this whole time before this was a job.
Right.
Like, maybe even an episode or two ago, we heard him say, we're not friends. You know what I mean? Like, was that 2 episodes ago? I can't remember. But
I don't know.
That was the Tommy episode. Yeah.
Oh yeah, when he leaves, but then he comes back because he's like, that was a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
right.
100%.
Yes.
But it's still in my opinion, like, there's still friction there, and then this is the switch when you see him kind of. I mean, because now we've seen him do this twice for her.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
He goes ape shit the first time to get her back. Then he goes ape shit and we'll get there. But like, I feel like her saving his life, staying with him when he told her to leave, and finding the medicine, like fixing the problem, and allowing him to wake up and actually continue to. I feel like for me at least, that's where the switch happened.
Yeah,
I agree. That was somebody saves your life.
Yeah,
that's a whole twice in 2 different ways, 2 different types of ways.
Yep.
For sure.
It's got to do something to you. It's got to pull something out of you.
For
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
And we see a little bit of what it pulled out of him in the next episode.
Yes.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
But I gotta get into this. I gotta get into this because we've gone so long and haven't really talked about it. We touched on it, but we gotta talk about this pedophilic preacher, man. This was weird. It was something that wasn't apparently, apparently, because I haven't actually played, but I definitely have read up on my shit. Something that apparently was not really prevalent in the game at all, but definitely was sought out in this. And that's why I think that these writers have something against, like, religion, like, in some kind of way. Like, they're trying, not against, but you know what I'm saying? They're trying to make some kind of statement, because it's like, not that I agree, but it's like they're saying, if your religious leaders take over, they will fuck your children and eat your kid.
I don't think it's that deep, because I mean, we even hear that this guy who is the preacher even says and describes that before all this, he wasn't a man of God. He wasn't.
No.
That this whole
He's just a shitty Ben too.
Yeah,
He replaced
so this
the
whole
T with
Right,
a P.
but that's my point. That's my point. Is like he took the opportunity to take advantage of a group of people who were not able to take care of themselves.
Right.
And he took advantage of those people by preying on their will to believe in an ethereal God.
Yeah,
that's my point.
As our resident video game expert, Noah, what did you think of like the differences between like that specific character of what was the character's name? David.
David.
Actually, first of all, if we're going to be doing all these titles, he's got to be our video game correspondent for Drunk Man. He is the Drunk Banthas video game correspondent.
I'll take it. Yeah, this is your correspondent coming in. Yeah, no, the game, it's awesome because there's so many sets in the game that are in the show that are almost identical. So that kitchen restaurant room that they're in during that big fight scene with the fire, that's almost exactly just like the kitchen you fight in the game or whatever. Or the dining room. You're walking around.
Yeah, that diner.
Yeah, because you're like sneaking behind the tables and he's like looking for you with his knife or whatever. And if you walk over glass, he'll hear it where you're coming, stuff like that. And he'll grab you down and hold you down and try if he gets to you, and you have to like tap like crazy to knock him off and everything. But he doesn't try to pull his dick out or whatever. For me, that just felt like, wow. First, you're like, this guy's a preacher. He seems okay, but something's off. And then you're like, oh, he's kind of brutal. And then as you keep going, you're just like, whoa, this guy's crazier and crazier and crazier. He's just like he just hides it so incredibly well until like, his temper and the excitement's at an all-time high, and it just comes bursting out of him. So like him having her down on the ground and stuff like that when he's like already had all his people killed or whatever. Yeah. It adds even more stakes in a terrible, terrible way that is very scary for like Ellie. So I get it why she goes bonkers. That is in the game. The hacking scene is pretty bad, but felt a little long. It felt a little long.
Final scene before we get into episode 9, because I feel like Bella Ramsey is going to get all the awards for this episode alone because she does a lot.
If they didn't submit submit this episode for an award, I don't know what episode they did.
Episode? Maybe episode 3.
Episode 3. Episode 3. If they did any of them.
Oh my God! Let me tell you something. If they submitted that episode over this episode, there's somebody that's not.
Episode 3 would be a weird one, because it doesn't involve any of the main characters. But like, what did you guys think of like this final scene where like Ellie saves herself? We think that that Joel's coming in to save her at the last minute, but she saves herself, and then they kind of embrace after they've both done some her shit. Chuckie, I'll let you. Yeah, go ahead.
Listen, I'm gonna just say that like she first off hacks the first dude. Then she
hacks his neck all up. Fucks his shit up.
She literally like is on that table, and then a second goes by, and there's a hatchet or there's a cleaver in this guy's neck, and then she's
cleaver. That's exactly. I'm so glad you said that. Right.
Yeah, like a cleaver butcher's knife.
Cleaver in his neck.
And
my video game, Joel.
That's already like one home run.
My video game, Joel.
That's already one home run. Then she runs into the main room, has enough sense to hide and be quiet. Then you think that she was kind of stupid for picking up the fire thing and throwing it at him, but it catches the whole room on fire, which of course I didn't play the game, so didn't know that was happening. But it was amazing that she saved herself, and that we didn't need anyone else to come in there, because it really, like I said, showed me really who she is, because up until that point, because we haven't seen the very next episode for myself, I did not know that she was born into this world, as, what happens in the very beginning of the next episode. Mm-hmm. And so to see her be able to handle herself like that with two fully grown men that have all the intention to skin her, cut her up, and she just slayed both of them. It was brilliant. It was brilliant.
I mean, she was going to be a Fedra agent. You know, she was training her whole life basically to be a badass. Allegedly.
I just didn't see, like, I saw them, like, you know, like in that episode where they were training and stuff, but it didn't really show like how badass.
No. I agree. No, I'm not like I said allegedly, because only Fedra agents we've seen so far have been fucking goofballs, and they've all gotten their asses kicked or beaten to death. So I'm just saying. So that's why I said allegedly. You know what I mean? And who knows how good of anything their training is?
And, and as we transition into episode 9, I want to actually ask Noah.
Ooh, I'm going to start episode 9 on the TV right now. Thanks.
Because I was curious about if they explain this in the video game with Ellie. It seems like she is, the episode opens up with, we see a pregnant woman running from a zombie. She gets bitten while giving birth, and that pregnant woman, as we mentioned earlier, is played by Ashley Johnson, actress who plays Ellie in the video game. And she gives birth, and that's how she ends up with Marlene. But then we see the mall flashback episode, and she's like, in the custody of Fedra. Is there a point where she goes from like the Firefly's custody to Fedra custody, like back to Firefly custody?
No, that was in the first episode.
Or like, okay,
she said in the first episode. I mean, Marlene said it. I gave you, or maybe it was the second episode. I don't know. She said, I gave you to Fedra. I knew your mom. I gave you to Fedra when you were a baby, but I've always kept an eye on you because I promised your mom I would look after you.
Yeah.
It's just so happens that Ellie gets bitten. Like, it's just chance. Like, who knows? Marlene might have gone to any other part of the country to do other things, but she was staying in Boston to watch over this child who because, as we see in this episode 9, Ellie's mom lied to Marlene about when she got bitten. She said, I got bitten after I gave birth.
She lies. She straight up lies.
She straight up lies. So Marlene wasn't aware of that, so she just treated the child like she was just a child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing more. She, had she known what she, had she known the truth, she might have fucking killed the baby.
Who knows, man? Yeah. Who knows? Or just I would hope. I don't know. She seems a little quick to choices as she makes later in the episode. We can wait till we get to that point. But it never shows anything like that in the games for sure, unless it happens in the second game, which I actually didn't play because I didn't have. It was like,
I'm pretty sure it does not show it in the second.
But I just want to say, a few days before the last episode, I was thinking about it, and that's exactly the concept I came up with. To like, how could this person be immune? I was like, maybe she was pregnant and got bit while she was literally, because it happened so fast. It would have to be right before she gives birth. It would have to be right before. So it's kind of funny. The next episode shows up and it's literally that situation.
It's a very Blade situation. She's she's one of the day walkers.
That's what you get here, people. That's why you come to the Drunk Banthas right here, because you get information, predictions right after they fucking happen. That's what happens right here. We do that here at the Drunk Banthas, and if you like this show so far, you should like and subscribe. Smash that like button like we smash these spores
smash it aggressively
in their
hard,
motherfucking brains. You know what I'm saying?
Some psychological problems. Just hit it really, really.
Smash it like Adam Driver in 65. You smash it like Adam Driver smashes that 65 check. I swear to God, that was the worst movie I think I've ever seen in my life. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
we just a little tidbit right there, but seriously, like, subscribe. If you don't, YouTube will take my firstborn child.
It's true. That's part of the contract.
We actually, we just saw fucking 65 with shout outs to the Morbid Zoo. We just saw Mariana from the Morbid Zoo. We will not be covering that on the podcast because that movie is terrible. But
we will be talking shit about that shit. We will. He's a liar. He's a liar. We will be talking a good 15 to 20 minutes about how shitty that movie is. Yes.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. Yeah, while we're talking about something else that we we get these flashbacks, like kind of getting Ellie's backstory, how she was born. And we kind of go back to Joel and Ellie in the present day. And Ellie's pretty bummed, as you could probably imagine, everything that she went through in the last episode.
She just turned a dude's face into lasagna. And, like, we just think about that. That's just traumatic as hell. Like, that's your last image of that. Then you're just running blindly into the
She's
snow.
a bum.
What did you guys think of, like, their interactions together, considering where Joel's coming from? You sound like fucking Rocky's quarterman.
I know. I was going for it. I'm saying that was a joke. Nobody got the joke. I'm tired of these jokes not landing.
Get back into the fight, Ellie.
These jokes are gonna land tonight.
Chuck, what did you think of, like, I guess, like their interactions, considering where Joel's coming from, where he's kind of growing, we're seeing more of his darkness, and Ellie, she's, you know, kind of fighting her darkness that she's sort of experiencing.
Well, as I said, I think that you kind of see in the first part of this episode the soft side of Joel, because he's trying to, like, break her shell because he knows that she, like, just went through this traumatic experience, and so he
see the softer side of Joel.
But what's great is that, like, you haven't seen Joel, in my opinion, like, attempt to have a regular conversation,
cheer someone
like,
up. Yeah.
Like, to cheer someone up.
I'm so glad you brought that up. I'm so glad. I was going to mention it earlier, but yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
To your point earlier, I think it has to do. That started with when she saved his life a second time.
Yep, 100%.
I think.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm so sorry. No,
you're good. No, you're good.
I almost think it happened before she saved his life. I don't even know if she had to save his life for them to have reached that bond. I almost feel like it happens in the Sam and Henry episode where they're up at the top of the skyscraper going to sleep in the bed, and she tells another knock
that joke where he
that
laughed
episode
at?
definitely did a lot of heavy lifting with the connection between the two, because
the one where he laughed at the joke. I know.
Yeah,
what you're talking about.
it's like that's when you, like, break his shell, and he's like, "All right, I like this kid a lot." I don't know, like, they've been through a lot at that point.
I can't even remember the joke. I wish I could remember the joke.
It was a good one. It runs in your genes.
It was a good one.
He wasn't quite there, because
that's fair.
He mentions, and the only reason I say this is that he mentions to, I think, his brother that he was doing this for what was his ex's name that died? That
Tess,
yeah. That he was just doing this for Tess. This is the last thing he told her.
That's fair. You're right. When that makeup, when he was like, "You chose to be with me," was a big thing for him too.
Yeah, even if he had already made the decision to, like, even if he'd already fallen in love with her, I don't think he was ready to admit that to himself or to other people.
You know what? I think you're all right, but you're all wrong at the same time. I just only thought about it right now while Chucky was talking.
That cute?
I think the moment when it happened, like, Joel's moment of no return, like his point of no return, was when he met up with Tommy and Ellie in the stables and was like, "Nah, I'm going with you.
Yeah,
you deserve to be able to make your own decision."
Yeah,
I mean, that was the point where he was like, "No matter what it is, I'm riding for this little girl."
I think he gave her a level there, but I don't think it was, "I'm going to turn beast mode for you" yet. And
no, to your point, I think that was where the door cracked.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm saying that was when the door. Yeah. That was when the door cracked open.
100%.
That was the level of.
Because he could have left.
But let me just speak to this. Can I mention this?
Please.
Speak
you
on it. You
gotta be in this. I'm going back to episode 8 a little bit. You gotta be a fucked up motherfucker to have an abundance of monkeys literally right down the road, and you just eating people.
I mean, wait, there were monkeys?
I don't think that was in the same.
Yeah, at the
same
university.
I think those were pretty far apart, weren't they?
No, because they ended up killing the dude. They ended up killing the dude who was a part of their camp.
That is where
that's the University of Colorado.
Gets stabbed. That is where Joel gets stabbed.
Okay.
So
maybe they were out hunting monkeys, and they were
like,
"Oh, people are monkeys. We'll grab those guys."
No,
people are slower than monkeys.
It's a very
slower.
That's a very
bigger
They're not a spider.
They got nice juicy.
You know why they were hunting slower? You know why they were hunting slower game? It's because the iron deficiency. You can't keep eating people. Yeah. It will kill you. It's bad.
Yeah.
That's
why. That's why.
Monkey.
That's why. Sorry, I'm not eating people. There's not enough iron. I gotta watch my diet. I'm not gonna eat people. It's not because it's not a human being. That's not why. It's like, no, it's just not enough iron. I like the taste. Don't get me wrong.
Look, man, I gotta be able to. I gotta be able to
eat people.
Exactly. Come on, it's wintertime. You're gonna be eating people. Think about your iron deficiency.
I gotta go scavenge for more natural balance vitamins. Like, all right,
like monkeys.
Maybe then I'll have some people. Okay.
It's not.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm just saying,
diet.
think outside your food groups. Jesus Christ. I mean, come on, people.
But yeah, then like as we are seeing like Joel and Ellie connecting, or he's like really trying to cheer her up after everything she's been through. It reveals that he actually had a really low point where he tried to kill himself. I'm sure. Well, I assumed that the scar that he spoke about earlier here was when he was shot trying to save Sarah, but it turns out it was when he was trying to kill himself. I thought that was interesting. Yeah. Was that
We've
something?
all been there.
That's something that happens in the game.
We've all been there. Yeah.
I don't remember if that dialogue is said. The game does a really awesome job of like, there are things you can miss. As you walk around through the world, it's very cool. Ellie she's just following you. She'll just comment on things like, see an ice cream truck. She'll be like, what is that? And he'll be like, oh, they used to drive around and give ice cream to people. And she's like, what? That's the craziest thing I've ever heard. So stuff like that.
That is actually, you know what? Even right now, as you said it,
yeah, it's like,
that
what?
is
That's
like
a weird
that
thing.
fucking crazy goddamn thing.
Yeah,
like, what?
door-to-door ice
do
cream?
that?
What? That's insane. So
Like,
it's
I'm waiting for
yeah.
him right now. Like, what?
So there might have been some dialogue that that happens as you go through the game, but I don't remember a scene necessarily that comes to mind that hits quite as hard as at least this one does. Where
Well,
he
I
gives
will
that
say
reveal.
that scene made him very weak. It also showed that like Joel's way of doing things beforehand is the way. No Mandalorian puns intended. It's just, it is the way. Like, you cannot be in a world filled of chaos that they are in and be having your guard down, because right after right after that, they get flashbanged, something that would have never happened to Joel prior.
Also, that his biggest enemy, the thing that took away everything from him, was not the zombies. It was another person just following orders. That's been a cool thing for me is in watching like the power dynamics. I'm like, wait, why are they following this person? You know what I mean? Like, they're out there trying to survive, and they're picking these people of power to, like, guide them. And it's been really interesting to see who's been in what power dynamic. So the episode 9 or whatever with the religious one, that's, like, an interesting thing. The other one with the bandits.
And then the city where they were all following
that lady who apparently was the sister of the guy who was the leader.
Yes.
Yeah, when that whole episode, I was like, she's cool, but like, why are they following her? I'm just curious. Could she? Yeah.
You know what? I ain't gonna lie. That episode was full of a lot of action.
Oh man,
it did a lot in that episode, but that was probably the worst episode of this season.
I guess it's another clicker episode.
One of the episodes I didn't like. There's got to be a worst episode, right? Like somebody's got to come in last.
She was in. I
think that's probably the last.
She was in like 3 episodes. I think like the first episode of hers I didn't really care for, but like the episode, I can't remember which episode it lands, where like there's the one where the zombies come out of the ground. Of course, we all remember that moment. Yes. But there's also a lot of other cool character moments in that episode with her that I really enjoyed. I was like, oh, I'm coming around on this character, and then she died.
I never came around on her. I'm not gonna deep dive into that. We already talked about that. That's a different episode. We don't have to. So sorry, I didn't mean to. If we got paid for this, if we got paid for it, I'd just be deep diving into this shit.
I'm just saying.
You know
someone's a villain when they send all of their like people to hunt down one person. It's like it's not worth it right now, miss. Like, do you see what's going on in the world right now?
Yeah,
like,
she's out for revenge.
Prioritize.
Yeah.
But she did mention that she was a terrible person before the.
Yeah, she was like, I don't care.
Like,
I don't care.
Let's
go to this episode. Let's go back.
I don't care. I don't care.
You do get an interesting like parallel between like. At least scene between like David and James and I think her name was Marlene, or maybe that's the actress's name, and her.
No, that's her. That's
okay. And her right hand man. where like they have to confirm like, hey, are you with me? Are you still like down for the cause? Because if not, like I got this thing right here.
I'm gonna shoot you in your face right now,
It's brutal.
and then eat you.
Yeah, it's like both of them have those moments, where like one, with her, it seems like her dude was like really down with them, and like with the other guy, you could see that he was still doubting stuff.
That's because Marlene wasn't eating people.
Yeah.
Yeah, very
Always
fine distinction.
It always helps. I'm gonna tell you, hey, little tip: if you have never learned anything, listen to the Drunk Banthas podcast. You just learned something today. Don't eat people,
and don't hang out with anyone who does.
That's another.
Yes,
it's
in every,
you heard it here first from Noah.
Very true.
I don't know anybody who eats people
Unless they were like trapped on a mountain and had to do it to survive. I guess you might could hang out with them.
Nobody else got that. I don't know anybody who eats people. I don't know anybody who eats people. I don't know anybody who eats people.
But yeah, before we finish, let's go talk about the ending of this episode and ending of the season. Yeah, like I love that. First off, like you guys mentioned, like the Joel and Ellie get kidnapped, get ambushed by the Fireflies. They let Joel know that this doctor has this idea, this theory, that if they remove a part of Ellie's brain, they could be the cure for.
I'm happy that you
everything.
said theory. I'm happy that you said theory.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing saying that it's actually going to work.
It's a vaccine too. It's not a cure technically. It's a vaccine, right? And they're basically just like, we'll put these mushrooms in your body, and then you'll just be like, I don't know, a mushroom person in a way, and they won't go after you. Yeah, which is kind of the thing, but like that doesn't seem like a good idea, right? I don't know.
It's actually because it seems like you might actually just be spreading the virus
in a different way. In a different way, yeah.
Yeah, in a different way. Because if it doesn't work, you're just going to be giving people brain spores.
Yeah, brain spores.
Yeah, and then I also thought
which actually sounds like a really dope punk band.
Would be a good punk name.
Brain spores. But what did you guys think of like? Because like they also mentioned that
I'm sorry, that was a very awesome guitar riff / terrible guitar riff. It was fucking amazing.
I guess I was channeling like 90s cartoon theme songs.
For sure.
But what do you guys think of like?
I'd watch that cartoon.
Also coming to Disney Plus next summer. But what did you guys think of? Because they also mentioned that they didn't tell her, like they didn't.
That's
ask
another
her
thing too.
If this was something that
Noah, does that happen in the game?
I vaguely felt like,
'cause I can't remember.
I can't remember either, but I think it has to be this way because at the end they leave and she kind of asks if he swears if he tells the truth or not. But I vaguely remembered thinking she knew what she was doing when they put her under, or at least they give you the you're kind of asking, they leave you asking, did she do this on purpose? Like, did she know? I don't remember entirely, but I don't think that was established. I'm not sure. Man.
Right.
Yeah. Chuck, what did you think of like the whole morality of everything? Because like everybody's got like a weird decision to make. Marlene, knowing her from Ellie from birth, obviously Joel and Ellie not knowing what's going on. What did you think of, I guess like that whole situation, how it turned out?
Yeah, I mean, I was definitely, my mind moved quickly to be like, okay, this is like one try at one thing that you guys have never done before. Like, how many clinical trials have we had to find cures for other things like that haven't worked out yet? And so I'm like, so my mind went quickly to, this isn't worth it. Like, you're going to kill this one girl to try to make a vaccine, like Noah just said, not a cure, but a vaccine.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It just, it didn't make any sense. Now, did Joel need to kill their whole crew? I mean, like, I guess he had to in order to get her back. Yeah. But man, that was a lot of fireflies he went through.
It's a lot of rash decisions, right? Because Marlene, for one, like, you could take a few weeks, maybe run some experiments, like, try some blood samples first, maybe. You don't have to go straight to remove the brain.
Take some soft tissue?
Yeah.
Why can't we run some tests?
Remove the brain. What? Remove the brain right off the bat.
Yeah, move straight to
take it.
remove the brain. Yes.
Brain surgery. I'm a brain surgeon, all right?
Hey, that
what I
that
do.
brain surgeon was willing to die
Oh,
for
man.
this cause.
For sure.
But what if he? But look, this is my thing.
Yeah, Bill,
ain't
what'd you
nobody been practicing real medicine for 20 years. How do you know this nigga is a brain surgeon? What if this motherfucker was a proctologist or some shit?
He's like, I'll read a few books on it. Yeah, they're pretty close. They're pretty close.
I think we close to a vaccine.
The butt and the brain.
This motherfucker used to study foot fungus and shit. Like, you don't know.
Let's be honest, that whole crew that was there with the Fireflies really didn't look like they were legit. If he could fucking bowl through them, kill all of them, and then there'd be just one doctor.
I think the explanation behind that, like the nerd explanation behind that, like, you know, the Comic-Con.
You gotta adjust your glasses before you say this.
Yeah.
actually.
Oh, sorry.
Actually, the Comic-Con explanation for that would be that Joel is a trained Army officer, and these people are trained under guerrilla tactics, and they've never really
I love that you're
experienced
committing
combat.
to this voice.
That's fair.
Okay.
Kind of sounds like me. I don't know.
And guess what, people? That's how you sound when I read your comments.
Oh my God.
When I read your comments and you talk shit, I think about you in that voice. That's how I view you.
But yeah, it is.
Hold on, can I ask a question? This is kind of senseless. I want to do. It's 4 of us here.
Okay.
So I want to do a top 5 craziest people in this series. Like, there's some motherfucking crazy people in this series.
There are some crazy people in this show.
Okay, let's just say right now, boom, the pandemic hits and everybody goes zombie land. And who are the top 5 people that, you know, you're like, damn, I used to go get a bagel with her. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you knew these people in real life, like, top 5 craziest people from this series. And I'm going to go first.
All right.
I'm going to go first.
Okay.
Okay.
And it's not no...
Top 5.
I'm going off...
That's a lot.
Yeah, I'm going 5. I'm going 5. This has got to be the lowest.
Gosh.
I don't even know if I can
Bill.
name 5 characters.
Bill was the craziest. Bill was the craziest motherfucker.
That was the craziest?
Crazy.
The top?
I said top 5.
Is this number
I'm
5 or
I'm
number
putting him at
1?
the bottom.
He's number
Okay.
5.
Number 5.
Okay.
He's number 5.
Okay, fair. I was like, you putting Bill over a pedophile?
No, I'm going low rung.
Okay.
I'm going low rung.
Okay.
I'm not going for the low hanging fruit.
Okay.
I'm going low rung.
He's crazy.
And I'm
Bill.
saying
He's not like
Bill,
crazy.
because Bill.
Scary
No,
Bill.
man, this motherfucker had an entire.
He's a
He
pepper.
basically had He basically had the square mile of Smallville fucking dated off.
That's true.
Is the set from
And
Smallville.
ready to explode. Like, dude, I mean, come on.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just that's
Yeah.
pretty impressive. I'm going
Yeah,
up him number 5. Number 5.
Okay. 5.
And that's just me.
All right. Yeah. All right.
Who wants
Yep.
to take number 4?
4 more.
Anybody can take number 4.
Oh, where are we? We're splitting them up. Okay. So.
I'm not doing the whole thing by
Okay.
myself.
No,
This is your idea.
This is a very well. It's an inclusive podcast.
This is an inclusive podcast.
So what? Like the next person does 4, the next person does 3, the next person does 2. Is that what you're talking about?
Well, there, yeah. Yes,
would you
Alex. That's
say-
how numbers work. When you go backwards from 5, that's how it works.
Would you
Yes.
say that Fedra would need to be like a collective person, right?
Fedra could be a collective person?
Because
yes,
I mean, they were like hanging people and shit, and
that is a good one.
you know
I
what
will
I
put them
mean.
at 4. That's a good one. That's a good number 4.
Like we
I
were
don't know if I
only
can come up
show.
with 5 crazy people.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So like, I feel like they need to be number 4. Preacher, I feel
Well-
like is number 1. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
for
just-
sure.
We know who's number 1. We
Yeah.
know who's number
Yeah,
1. So
he's nuts.
we ain't got to worry about it.
I mean,
But who's number 3? No, you got to give us number 3.
Honestly, a lot of the characters, they do a pretty good job of like justifying most of them. I don't feel like everybody's crazy. Bill is definitely a prepper. Like, it's probably one before the apocalypse happened. Honestly, that dude
Right,
probably
that's what I'm
had some of
saying.
that
Like,
shit set up.
These
ahead
are
of
people
time.
who we used to see before the
Yeah.
apocalypse happened. Like this is
Yeah.
everybody who was crazy is like before the
I'm
apocalypse.
trying to
actually
think of
happened.
someone else who I did something that I was just like, you're crazy for doing that. And I feel like everyone else kind of has a good I guess the revenge is kind of far to kill Henry, even though that he killed their leader. And
Nope, I like that one. That's kind of far.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I feel everything's pretty justified.
It's not
for
that they
me.
just killed Henry; it's that they killed like a bunch of women and children and
Yeah, they killed a lot of people.
federal agents.
Yeah,
they killed a lot of
everybody
people.
kills everybody in this world. Everybody's killing everybody.
I love it. Everybody kill everybody. No.
That's crazy. I don't know, man. It's hard to. I can't even think of 5.
We'll just give that whole town. We'll give that whole town 3.
Okay.
Since we gave federal 4, we'll give that whole town 3.
Okay, sure.
There you go.
Alex, that leaves you with 2. Alex,
I guess
that
if
leaves
I'm
you
gonna
with
have 2, and this is probably gonna be a hot take, but I think I'm gonna give 2
To Joel.
since it's landing on me. I'm giving it to Joel.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
first,
He's getting crazy.
Because first, it was crazy to leave that town. They had bacon and Christmas trees.
Yeah, like what?
Like,
Come on.
why would you
and
leave?
movies.
Just stay. Just
movies.
stay.
Terrible movies, but movies. Definitely terrible movies.
Especially after like having so many
Your brother's
things
there.
like go wrong. You thought you were gonna you 2 Firefly bases you're supposed to end up at that turned out like tits up.
They are back now, right? That's what we're.
They went back to that
presuming?
town. Yeah, they went back to
That's
that town.
That's that town.
I'm pretty positive.
Okay. Yeah,
That they end up at the end of this episode. Okay.
but I do
Okay.
agree with you, Alex. That it's got to be Joel. It's got to be Joel.
Yeah, I mean, because I think we mentioned we all know who number 1's going to,
Yep.
but yeah, like he
Yeah, that's why I didn't even. That's why I made it a top 5 because I knew who number 1 was gonna go to. Like I was thinking about it while y'all were talking. I was like, well, we know who number 1's gonna go to, and there's only 4 of us, so it's be a perfect top 5.
So,
And if you didn't say Joel, Alex, I was gonna give it to Joel as number
sure.
1 because he's a savage motherfucker.
he's kind of lost it. He's
a
gone all
beast.
out. Gone all out for it.
He's pretty scary in this episode.
So I mean, if we want to kind of move that forward a little bit, Joel finds out he's gonna remove her brain and kill her, which is a rash decision. Could have taken some experiments, but then he makes his own rash decision, kills everybody going through the hospital, gets to the room with a doctor and 2 nurses. I remember that part in the game. This is the part in the game where I'm like, you're literally you walk in and they do the same thing. The doctors turn to you, hands up, and I'm like, am I supposed to shoot these doctors? Like, and they're literally like, don't do anything. Please think about what you're doing. I'm like, I didn't know this was going to happen. This is why I was like, maybe there were multiple endings. So I was just like, I guess I'll shoot the I think, I walk up, I'm like looking at Ellie. I'm like taking my time. Like, and I shot the doctors and left and took Ellie and left. And I was like, I cannot believe I just did that, and I didn't know. You never know when they make a live action version. You don't know what they're going to change.
Yeah,
and that's like kind of a controversial ending.
So
it was a controversial.
So you
ending
don't remember?
It's a controversial Hollywood ending
scalpel
for sure.
and possibly
not
going
really.
at you?
No, I don't. Maybe that happened, but I just
that was pretty badass.
Oh yeah,
And
that
then
doctor was down to go.
And then it was even more badass that Joel was just like, okay, pop. Like,
I'm glad he left the nurses alive. I got worried he was just going to be like, y'all are going to die too.
I think it's funny that you said.
I was ready
I think it's
for
funny
it.
that you said that that was badass because I thought that was dumb. Not dumb in the sense that it shouldn't happen in the scene and the way it played out. Just dumb that the doctor thought this man has a gun. I'll pick up this scalpel, even though he's clearly killed.
That's when you got to play the silver
at least
tongue.
25, 30 men.
That's when you got to try to persuade.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, he's
us people who have been
sure.
getting beat up for years, and we know silver tongue.
Silver tongue.
I'm not sure.
That's what you got to play that down. You got to.
I'm not sure if you guys watched the post like episode, but like one of the deleted scenes that they decided to take out because like they felt like it would have ruined the mood. Like right before Joel shoots him, the doctor screams "Woo Tang!" and then he goes at him with a scalpel. But they
I did see that. That's in the game. That's in the game, actually.
But then Joel lies to Ellie about like how everything goes down in the Firefly did, and it gets kind of like weird. Before we get out of here, like what would you guys think about this? Like this last feeling, how he leaves it? Do you feel like Ellie believes him? Chuckie, what did you think of this? How this whole thing ended?
I mean, listen, we now know, or like definitively, that both of these people are badasses. Like they are, like Ellie's a badass, Joel's a badass. They're both badasses in their own right. And so when I see Ellie like poking him and asking these questions about what happened, I see her kind of knowing that he's not telling the truth because she can read him now. She's been with him long enough. She knows how he answers and stuff and vice versa. And so I feel that, but I feel like both of their characters, because they're badasses and they're both a little crazy because they, are going through this world, they both just deal with each other in that sense to just move forward with things.
Yeah.
Because but the main question is, why does Joel feel like he has to lie to her?
Right.
She knows she'd leave.
Yeah. Mm.
But no, I don't. But if
I don't think it's. I'm going to answer that. I think it's a great assumption to believe that he knows that she would leave, but I think it's because he's done this with her the entire show so far. He's tried to preserve some innocence with her because she is just a kid.
That is very true.
Because she's not supposed to have to deal with these types of things, and because he's one of the few people who was alive at this time that was alive before the pandemic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He lived a whole life. He was 36 years. He turned 36 years old the day that the shit went down. Mm-hmm. So he lived a whole life before, and and having a daughter, he knows, or having had a daughter, he knows that this is not the life you're supposed to be living. This is not the mindset you're supposed to have. And I think that's what plays out a lot in The Last of Us 2 in the game. It's more of Ellie exploring herself. Mm-hmm. And, that's all I'm going to say because I don't want to give away nothing.
Yeah.
Noah hasn't played the game, the second game
I'm
yet.
going to try and play it before the next season.
And real
you
quick,
got
Noah,
time. Yeah, you got time.
Yeah.
Yeah, real quick, Noah, what did you think of Joel and Ellie?
Answer your question. The feeling I got, bad. I felt bad. I feel like you really sit in the game. I was literally having the same moral thing. I was like, was that the right choice? Should he have done this? And it felt like everything just happened too fast. The episode seems a little short, actually. I kind of almost wish they dragged it out a little bit more.
Give us an hour and a half.
I'm watching
right?
it again.
An hour and a half for the finale.
At least a full hour because it was
it really did
minutes,
feel short, but it really wasn't.
Still felt short.
That just speaks to the way that it was shot.
But it
was done really well.
Yeah, it happens so fast. Marlene's decision to take her right into brain surgery, his decision to just kill everybody and get out of there.
His decision to kill Marlene.
And the thing is, maybe Ellie could grow up and maybe her kids will be immune. Maybe they can maybe their technology will be a little more advanced and they can actually get cures from them without killing them and stuff like that.
Right.
You can there's still hope for the future, but he also just killed most of the people who are working on that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The main leaders of the people who were trying to solve that problem are now all dead because of his decision. And he's right, they would have come looking for her, but it's just this rash decision. And even when he's going down the elevator, I saw on his face a moment, for me at least, it hit so hard in a way where he was like, did I just fuck up everything? Was this the right? He's looking at her and he's got her in her arms. She's unconscious. And you kind of see him be like, was that the worst decision ever? I have to commit to it now. No, it wasn't because I'm here with Ellie. It's this really intense thing. It just leaves you feeling bad.
I do like that they have.
I completely agree. Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
No, just real quick, I just want to say that, I agree, and I like the music choice during that scene where he's killing everybody because it does make it seem like it's just a sad moment. You're not supposed to feel good about this.
Yeah.
But what were you about to say, Bill, real quick before I asked our last question to wrap it up?
Well, no, I was just agreeing with Noah. I think that Joel did make, I think he felt like, am I making the right decision? Is this gonna come back on me in some kind of way?
Oh man.
But to your point, he had a decision to make. Can I take this doctor with me? Do I let everybody live? Do we try to work things out now? Because he is in a position of power at that point. He's killed all the fireflies that exist within an arm's reach. So I do think he was thinking oh shit, did I make the real right decision at this point? But he knows at that point I've gone too far. This is crazy. But I do want to point to the fact that the reason I brought up the top 5 craziest is because he just, after he does all that and he takes Ellie and he saves her and gets her some clothes, he just like starts talking to her like everything's cool. Like,
Well,
you know,
yeah,
like,
it's
so,
kind of,
you know, like,
kind of feels a
this is,
little
like, back
crazy
to
to her.
normal.
Yeah. Well, and it's got to feel so unsatisfying for Ellie, right? Because all she knows is she walks in the place, gets knocked out, she wakes up, and she's like, "We were there. What happened?" And he's like, "Oh,
We
you
don't
know,
know
it just
what they
didn't work
told-
out.
Yeah.
It just didn't work." And so,
Oh,
and then Raiders
also,
showed up.
And also there was Raiders.
Also there was
yeah,
Raiders.
just Raiders showed up.
Raiders showed up. It was real bad.
There's no
Anyway,
reason-
it didn't
yeah,
work. So let's go home now. You know, it's just like the most unsatisfying thing for Ellie too, because she was literally like, "We couldn't.
Yeah.
All this is for nothing if we don't do this."
Yeah, she has no reason to believe what's going on. I kind of wish we could talk about this for like 2 more hours.
Oh, man.
She also, I just want
but
to point
guys,
out that I just want to point out that she also has to deal with the trauma of killing somebody
Oh yeah, multiple times. Yeah.
just for nothing. Like, you know, she just went through all this bullshit for nothing.
It's because we don't
From
really
what
know if
his,
anybody has any.
from the lie that Joel ended up telling him.
Yeah.
Telling him.
Right, yeah, and I guess she either has to just find some way to believe that lie, or just feel sad, just have a cloud of despair over her for the rest of her life. But real quick before we get out of here, just real quick, just the name before we get out of here. What is the video game that you would like to see turned into a TV show? Chuckie, I'll let you go first.
A TV show.
Yeah.
Okay.
One video game.
Yeah, just one video game, and just the name, since like we have been talking forever.
Yes. I would like to see. Oh my gosh.
It's tough.
I mean, honestly, it kind of already was turned into a movie, but like. No, I don't want to say Fortnite. I'm just saying
Not Fortnite.
Fortnite's turned into a movie.
Because Fortnite's already pretty much a movie. Ready Player
like
One.
Hunger Games.
Well, Ready Player One pretty much is Fortnite, just with the golden ticket kind of thing.
I guess
you know
so.
What I mean,
I guess so. Yeah.
because like you can be everything in it.
Yeah.
Go to Noah and let me think for like 2 seconds.
Okay, yeah, Noah.
Yeah.
Well, Noah, do you have one?
I think
Locked and
Legend of
loaded?
Zelda. Legend of Zelda.
Zelda. Okay, Legend of
Dude,
Zelda.
right? Like, why has there never
I
been
mean,
one? So
that would be
stupid.
I know
really
they've
good.
talked about it for years. The thing is, they've always asked
Years.
they said, can we do it in a way that works? You know, like, can we put someone...
We got a Sonic movie
Can we
before
put
we got a
someone...
Zelda
Yeah,
movie.
for
That's
sure.
ridiculous.
But he's just
Bill,
like,
do you
can we
have
put someone in this pointy green hat and make it look good? You know what I mean? That's
Yeah,
all.
you definitely got the technology. Bill, do you have a
I
one?
definitely have one. It's the most epic of all. I was hoping to go last because it's fucking amazing.
I've got mine then. If you want to go last,
You want to go?
Go ahead, go ahead,
Chuckie,
go ahead.
Go ahead, Chuckie.
Streets of Rage 2.
Streets
I
of
believe
Rage 2.
that game.
Not
and if
even
you
the
don't
first
know,
one.
Not the first one. If you
Nope,
don't know about
straight into the first.
Yeah.
Straight to the sequel.
If you don't know about Streets of Rage 2, it was a Sega Genesis game. It was this amazing game where I believe there was 4 fighters that you could pick from. There was a strongman, there was a rollerblader, there was like a white dude in a white shirt and jeans, and then
Oh, this looks okay. This is very familiar. This is very familiar.
Yes.
Guys, go ahead and check that out.
check that out if you've got a Sega Genesis. Get that cartridge because it was one of the best games ever, and the storyline was great. I mean, you just fight boss after boss, going through level after level. But it would have been an amazing like little TV series to like follow each character and storylines and shit like that.
And apparently there's a Streets of Rage 4 on Nintendo Switch. But but I would say Heavy Rain. There's a
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you guys have ever played. Yeah, it's
Heavy Rain.
very cinematic
is
game.
That's a very Last of Us type game.
That's
feel
what
like.
I was thinking about that game a lot while watching this. Is like that they could definitely do this. But Bill, what about you? What is your choice?
Oh yeah, baby, I'm killing it with this one. Grand Theft Auto Vice City.
Ooh, Vice
City.
City specifically
It's true.
would be perfect.
You start with Vice City, you go back to the first game. The second game. Then you go to what's the first LA game?
San Andreas?
San Andreas.
Oh yeah,
right?
San Andreas. Yeah. Then you do San Andreas. That's the third one. I'm telling
Then
you,
you
man.
bring them
easy
all together
money.
for the Grand Theft Auto Avengers movie where they all come through portals.
That's Fortnite. It all comes back to Fortnite.
Before we get out of here, guys, where can the people find you on the intro? Oh no, we already did it at the top because we do drops at the top because you guys don't listen this far out when you guys know we're about to wrap up. But guys, we try to do this every once in a while. You don't have to do the theme song. They're gonna do it. We try to do this every once in a while. So go ahead and leave a like, subscribe so you can get updates on new videos. Check us out on Twitter, IG, TikTok, likewise, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all the internet things at the Drunk Banthas. Until next time, stay safe, my little fireflies, and may the force be with you.